Hey guys, RJ here, and I know earlier in the week I promised you all a brand new theory video on Big Little Lies, and this is me holding true to that promise, so let's go ahead and get started right away. So guys, if you have not seen episode 3 of Big Little Lies on HBO, please turn this off, go watch it, and then come back. I don't want to ruin anything from those first 3 episodes for you. With all that out of the way, let's just kind of go into this. I really think we already know the character on the show of Big Little Lies who hurt and raped Jane Chapman. We learned this story in episode 3 that Ziggy Chapman was conceived via a rape, and it's basically a part of Jane's life that she has never talked about. We learn with her conversation with Madeline that she has never told anyone before. So her opening up is definitely, I think, kind of like a first step to maybe her trying to help herself, maybe trying to heal herself a little bit so her son doesn't see her have these, angry outbursts and stuff. Anyways, I think we know who it is, and I think the show has actually given us quite a few hints to this. So let's just kind of go down and run through them so far. I think the person that did this is none other than Perry Wright, Celeste's husband. And the reason I believe this is because Jane and Perry have not met yet. And I think that alone is a very huge key. And I mean, obviously she hasn't met all of the husbands yet of, Celeste and Madeline. But the point is, I think that they've made very key points to the fact that those two have never been in a room together. Examples of this would be when they are going to drop off the kids at school, and that is when Celeste and Perry have one of their fights in the car where he's like, oh, I don't get to go in, I don't get to meet the teacher. I think that alone would have been a point in which Perry and Jane could have run into one another and kind of started, that's going to be the pin that drops, right? That would be my assumption as to why people end up killing each other at the end of the season, is something to do with this whole situation. People take sides, and that's what I'm kind of waiting for, the dominoes to fall on this. What I don't think though is, I don't think Jane is openly going to say anything right away. I think she's going to figure it out, but I don't think she's going to just throw a finger up right away. I don't know what's going to happen with that. And I think that's going to be very interesting to see how she actually reacts if he is the one. And so let's just keep talking about how this theory is valid. I think that on top of that, he didn't go to the Disney on Ice with any of the kids and the moms and stuff. I think that's pretty important because once again, him and Jane would have met then. And I think there's a lot of opportunities so far that they could have met and they just haven't. And I think it's very coincidental, the things that they miss on one another. And I think on top of this, you have to look at the fact that he's always traveling, right? Every single episode that we've gotten so far, him and Celeste are always talking about oh, your job takes you everywhere. You're always traveling. You're never home. And then when he starts to get angry at her and abuse Celeste herself, he blames her for, do you think I like being away from my family and stuff? And obviously he's crazy when he's talking about these things because she doesn't, at least we don't think that she wants him to physically be away from her and the kids. And, I think that it's pretty obvious that this guy has anger issues too, or probably way more than just anger issues at this point. And I think to add on top of that, we not only get to see him and Celeste have their very mechanical sex in the shower after he hits her, or not in the shower, in the closet, the giant walk-in closet. And then I see the style, how Jane describes the rapist is mechanical. And I think the way that we kind of see this happen in those scenes, see them interact with each other, Celeste and Perry, it seems very mechanical to me. On top of this, the shoes are very high class and they seem like something he might wear. And also, I think that something that's really obvious for all of this is the fact that they had to move away. Celeste brings up in their counseling session that, hey, you made me leave my family, my friends. We had to leave. I did all of that for you. How can I not love you anymore? And she's trying to defend herself because he's saying he's always afraid that she's going to leave. And I think this is a classic tactic of, oh, you're making me feel guilty, and that's the reason I'm acting out and lashing out at you. And in actuality, I think Perry is a very screwed up individual, and I think it's kind of coming clear here. And it would also explain the look that Jane and Celeste kind of share when they first meet. I don't know if they've ever, maybe Celeste does know about what Perry did on the side or whatever. But the look that they share, maybe it's just something of we've both been in pain and we've both been abused. Maybe that's something you just have as like a sixth sense after that point, and you can sense it in other people. But I think their look that they exchange at that table is very, very interesting, and I actually noted that in my review. But in general, I think that there's a lot of things pointing at this. I think it's fairly obvious at this point that, and I mean, you can also see the silhouettes, right? I'll put the picture up here. I mean, you can see the silhouettes with them kissing, and, you know, before it turns violent and stuff, it does, the outline looks very similar, and she talks about him being very tall and strong. You know, he's way stronger than I was, and I mean, Perry's like a pretty ripped dude from what we've seen so far, so he fits the bill. The timing is definitely the only thing that I have questions about, right, for this whole theory is, when did it happen? Because you have Celeste and her kids and Ziggy. So I feel like there's a lot of moving pieces there that I need to know and I mean, that's probably why he ended up forcing Celeste to move was, you know, we need to get out of here because obviously I just did this terrible thing. And Jane Chapman might not be the only one that Perry has done this to before, if it is in fact him. And I mean, to also fight this theory, this could easily be a HBO false flag where they're just trying to get us to believe that it's him and it's actually someone we haven't met at all. And there's a lot of options for that. My point here is that I'm pretty sure that this is a fairly obvious one that they're trying to give us, that it's pretty clear that Perry has tons of issues going on, and you know, we start feeling for Jane Chapman in this last episode 3 that we saw. I think that they've kind of counterbalanced these characters really well, and I think, you know, them finding each other would be a great cataclysm to the, you know, the murder that happens at the end of the season. So that's my theory so far, and I have to give a shout out. One of our fans actually commented on the review for last week. You did a great job. You actually called this theory out on its head, and yeah, I just got to give props to that. Anyways, guys, I know that this was a little bit of a rambling theory. That's fine. I really like doing these informal ones with you guys. What do you think? Is this theory crazy? Is Perry Wright actually Jane's rapist, or am I like totally off base here? Because it seems like they're throwing a lot of pieces in our face to kind of hint at the fact that these two characters, when they meet, shit is going to go down. And I am pretty damn excited for it. So guys, as usual, comment down below. I want to know your theories. Is there anything else you want me to talk about? Maybe a future theory video for Big Little Lies. I'd be totally down for listening for your guys' ideas. Like this video if you liked it. Dislike it if you absolutely hate me and this theory will never come true. Subscribe to us here on YouTube. And until next time, guys, we'll see you soon.